Welcome back to our channel. I welcome you all to Spectral Haven. Today's story is a terrifying and completely true incident based on Islamic black magic from Bangladesh. I hope you will really enjoy this story. Without further delay, let's begin the story. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and lose yourself in the realm of fear. Written by Imran. It was the year 2013. And I was in my first year of honors. I was the youngest son in the family, so I was pampered the most. That's why, seeing my friends, I also started asking my father for a smartphone. My father bought me a smartphone for 15,000 taka. As soon as I got the new phone, I opened a Facebook account. Since the network tower was a bit far from our house, we didn't get a good signal indoors. So sometimes we used to go outside to use Facebook. One evening, just after Maghrib prayer, I was sitting outside at a tea stall, using Facebook and listening to music. Suddenly, I noticed an old woman approaching from behind and standing in front of me. She stared at me for a while and then gave a creepy smile. The old woman was short, wearing a white sari, and her face looked completely bloodless and pale. Seeing her, I got extremely scared. I took off my headphones, turned off the music on my phone, and looked ahead. There was no one there. I looked around, but couldn't find anyone. In a hurry, I ran back inside the house. Then I told my mother about the incident. My mother got quite angry with me. She asked why I had gone outside after evening and scolded me. Then she recited prayers and blew on me. After that, nothing else happened to me. I stopped going outside after evening. It's worth mentioning that I was very good at fishing. You could say it was almost an addiction for me. So, from time to time, I used to go fishing in the village ponds or other places with my friends. One day, my friend Nasir Houdin and I decided to go fishing at the village pond at night. That night, there was an Islamic gathering in our village. Nasir Houdin told me that after listening to the gathering, he would take a nap and then go fishing. He said he would come and wake me up. So, as planned, I went to sleep around midnight after listening to the gathering. Nasir Houdin came and called me, and I woke up and went to fish, taking the fishing trap called palay with me. Palay is made of bamboo for catching fish. We headed toward the pond near our village. As scheduled, we began fishing, and that night we were catching a lot of fish. The more we progressed, the more fish seemed to appear. The two of us were catching fish together. But strangely, Nasir Houdin wasn't talking much. Normally, he's very talkative and always chatting a lot. Plus, he's a heavy smoker. But that night, he didn't smoke even a single cigarette. I was smoking a bit here and there. So I asked Nasir Houdin, "Hey, light a cigarette and sing a song." He replied, "I don't feel like it today. You keep fishing." After a while, we sat down to take a break. I had matches with me, but didn't have any cigarettes. So I asked Nasir Houdin for one. He said, "You don't have any cigarettes with you?" I was quite surprised. Nasir Houdin came fishing, but didn't bring any cigarettes. I felt a bit hurt. Meanwhile, he suddenly got up and seemed eager to move forward. A bit annoyed, I struck a matchstick to light a fire and stood up. In that very moment, I was startled. I looked at Nasir Houdin's feet and noticed something terrifying. His feet looked completely abnormal. Nasir Houdin, with great irritation, turned around and said, "What's this? No cigarettes? Nothing. And yet you're lighting a match. Come on, let's move ahead quickly." By then, a cold chill ran down my spine. What I saw in the light of the matchstick just 5 seconds ago was definitely not a mistake of the mind. I had realized by now that I was heading into a huge danger. The person in front of me was not Nasir Houdin, but some evil spirit. I was so scared that I almost couldn't breathe. Then, as quickly as possible, I tried to calm myself down and convinced myself that I had to do something so that it wouldn't be understood. Maybe if I didn't do something, I wouldn't be able to get back alive. Meanwhile, the figure in front of me said, "Hey, how much longer will you take?" I tried not to show any signs of fear and kept walking ahead with him. By now, we had reached the middle of the pond, and after a few more steps, the water's depth would gradually start increasing. I said, "Hey, we've caught so many fish today. Let's go home now." Nasir Uddin replied, "Just a few more fish. Since we've already caught so many today, we should catch even more." I was getting more and more disoriented. I said, "Wait, let's take a break. I'm feeling really tired." He irritably replied, "Come on. No time for tiredness. Let's move ahead quickly." I said, "I can't go any further, brother. I'm going home. It's been a long time, and the bag of fish is full." Now, with great irritation, he said, "Why are you overdoing this? What's the problem with fishing? Don't you see how many fish there are?" Meanwhile, I was trying to pass the time by saying things, arguing with him, trying to stretch the conversation as long as possible. But it was still a long way to dawn, and the prayer call azan was still far off. I felt deep in my heart that if the azan didn't happen soon, something terrible would await me today. Nasir Huda, or rather, the spirit in his form, seemed to sense that I had figured it out. Now, with a furious tone and a deep voice, he started to say,
Come on. I'm telling you, Imran, don't make me angry."
At this point, I completely broke down and started reciting every prayer I knew. Meanwhile, my mother, who used to perform tahajjud prayer, had already woken up much earlier. Just before she got up, in a half-awake state, she had a small nightmare. She dreamt that I had fallen into a well, crying out in agony, and that the well was slowly shrinking. My mother tried to get closer to the well, but for some reason, she couldn't get there. Every time she tried to go, she would fall back due to a gust of wind. Just then, she snapped out of her sleepy state, got up, and quickly went to my room to check, only to find that I wasn't in bed. My mother became extremely worried. She knew that I usually went fishing at night, but she also knew I would always return by midnight. Since my cousins were at our place, she didn't usually worry. She hurried to my aunt and asked if my cousins had gone fishing. My aunt replied, "No, none of them went fishing. They came back from the gathering and went to sleep." Now, my mother was frightened. She asked my older sister to wake up. My father was not home. He was out on a business trip. My mother and sister quickly performed ablution and started praying. My mother began crying and prayed to Allah for my well-being. She had felt something was wrong and that danger was near. Soon, my mother, uncle, and a few others woke up and decided to search for me. Since I often went fishing in the pond, they took lights and headed towards the pond. By now, I was frozen with fear, standing motionless. Nasir Uddin's appearance had started to change. He was becoming a terrifying figure. Instead of Nasir Uddin, I saw a shadow or some kind of dark form in front of me. I was trembling with fear of death, unable to recite any surah. Suddenly, the dark form spoke in a heavy, deep voice.
"You won't survive. Today, I'll finish you off. You've come here, so be ready to die."
I thought, for the last time, about trying to save myself. And without thinking any further, I turned around and ran. Even though the water was shallow, running was very difficult for me. Still, the will to live is strong. Meanwhile, from behind, I heard whooshing sounds, as if a storm was blowing, and a terrifying growl echoed through the air. After running for about 15 minutes, my legs gave out, and my body was exhausted. Everything in front of me went completely dark. Suddenly, I stumbled and fell. When I tried to get up, I noticed that dark, Swirling winds surrounded me like a vortex. I was right in the middle, and I had no idea when this storm would swallow me whole. I could no longer bear it, and with a final plea, I cried out, "Allah, save me," and lost consciousness. In the moment I lost consciousness, I heard three things. First, I heard someone say, "No one will be able to save you." Second, I heard several people calling my name. And third, the sweetest sound I heard was the sound of the azan for Fajr. It felt as if I had been waiting for my moment of salvation for eternity. This was the call to prayer. Eventually, I lost consciousness, and I couldn't say anything more. When I regained consciousness, I found myself at home. Someone was pouring water on my head and reciting prayers, blowing on me. I could hear my mother's crying as well. Finally, I opened my eyes and sat up. My head was throbbing terribly, as if I had woken up after a century. A religious leader came to me saying, "Alhamdulillah, you have regained consciousness." My father asked, "What happened, Imran? Why did you lose consciousness in the pond? And why did you go fishing alone?" I then explained everything. When I mentioned Nazir Udin, everyone was surprised. I said, "After the gathering, I fell asleep." Nazir Udin said, "I fell asleep too. And after that, I couldn't wake up. I couldn't call you, and someone else took my form and went to you." My father didn't allow anyone to speak further and asked everyone to leave, telling me to rest. The next day, my father took me to a prominent religious leader in the area. After hearing everything, the leader told me to return in the afternoon. When I went back in the afternoon, hearing his words felt like the sky had fallen on me. The religious leader said, "Imran has been cursed with black magic. The fact that he is still alive is a miracle. That night, he could have been killed. But the curse couldn't kill him because the call to Fajr came. You had reached the pond by then. However, this spirit is very powerful and angry. It will do something bad to you. I can't say much more, but I'm giving you this amulet. It will protect you from harm." With that, Imran finished his story. Friends, this was the very first video on our channel. We don't know how you felt about it. If you liked it, do let us know in the comments. And even if you didn't, still share your thoughts. Your feedback will help us improve our future content. If you love to enjoy terrifying and supernatural content, then subscribe to our channel Spectral Haven right now. And if you or someone you know has experienced any mysterious or horrifying event, then feel free to send it to us via email. Our email, spectralhavenofficial@gmail.com. That's all for today. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll meet again in another spine-chilling episode.